Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series. My name is Azumakudi. Once again, joined by Gcttirth. We just got done watching a pretty exciting series between Cross and Strifecrow. Strifecrow eventually won, so he's going to move on to the semifinals. But before that, we have Chakki, the big sock Chak, versus Lead Paint. Oh, sorry, versus Gcttirth.
Sorry, man. Gcttirth, as I was saying before, placed second in the Hearthstone Legendary Series previous to this, so he was just shy of being able to qualify. He did get seeding into this Redemption tournament, as you can see, so he didn't have to go through a best of 5, and he only has to go through 2 best of 5s to make it all the way to the finals, being held here June 5th to June 7th with a $25,000 prize pool.
Indeed. And Gcttirth, of course, it's the first time we're going to be seeing him today, so I'll give you guys a little rundown of his performance. He participated in week 1, like you mentioned. Took second, like you mentioned. His total game score was 10-10. So he actually played a lot of matches that day. Yeah. Most of his matches were 3-2. They went to game 5. But he had a really impressive performance, and he actually ended up losing in the semifinals to Life Coach, who ended up winning the whole thing. So he has to be really happy about his performance. Gcttirth is also a player who we saw in the Legendary Series Season 1. In one of the weeks, I believe he actually made it to the match day, which was actually really tough to do last season because you had to play something ridiculous like 20 best of 5s in order to make it to the Legendary Series match day if you came from the Open. And he's a player that prides himself in his ability to play well in qualifiers, and he plays in almost every single qualifier that he can get his hands on.
Man, qualifier stages are just grueling. The amount of, like, I would say, just your brain power needs to be or your more like your brain stamina and dexterity, like, because you do start to fatigue after thinking about turns for so long, after staring at a monitor for 6 to 10 hours. Things get out of hand very quickly. So for him to go through all those and actually embrace it, it shows you just a level of capabilities.
Yeah,
we always talk about that. We'll see, though, because obviously he's had a pretty easy run so far, having not had to play at all today. This is his first time, and he's going to be up against Chakki. Now, we have seen Chakki before. How would you rate his play?
10 out of 10. 8 out of 8, mate.
It's great.
That's what Chakki would tell you. Chakki is a living, walking, breathing meme. The meme lord, the self-proclaimed meme lord of the Hearthstone scene.
I heard you were actually talking to me about him beforehand.
Yeah.
You're saying how aggressively he's coming to the table here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you didn't get to cast the matches.
I didn't get to catch them.
But Chakki, when he first started to appear on the scene, he actually got his start back in the ESL King of the Hill days, the NESL King of the Hill days, long ago, about a year ago, where he actually defeated Reynad. There was a big controversy because Chakki proceeded to BM Reynad endlessly in the match that he beat him in the King of the Hill series. And he got a reputation for sort of being a BM player that played really BM decks, or really aggressive decks. And he actually broke that mold a while ago. When he started to play a lot of Freeze Mage, played Fatigue Mage. He was one of the players to sort of pinpoint some inconsistencies with like Conquest format and how people can capitalize on Conquest format.
Does that have something to do with the cycle of the meta in which he knows of his opponents knowing about him, or is that a situation where he's just trying to break that mold, do you think? And say,
well,
hey,
he doesn't want to be a predictable player.
Yeah.
In his actual Legendary Series week, he brought a good mix of decks. But this week, he sort of hinted at me last night that he was going to be bringing all aggressive decks, and that's exactly what he did.
Yep.
And Gcttirth, on the other hand, he told me when I talked to him, and it was a long time ago, it was before week 1, so almost 2 months ago, he likes to play the underrated decks. He likes to play the underdog decks. He likes to play Shaman, which we saw him bring in his Legendary Series week. And he loves playing Priest. In Legendary Series Season 1, he brought Priest, even though it was more standard to bring Priest back then. Bringing it today is sort of bold. And he's actually teched this thing pretty interestingly. He's got double Singed Shieldmaster, Prophet Velen, Big strides.
That's right, man. Prophet Velen. Does that mean he has Mind Blast in here too?
It's possible. One of the most popular Priest players in the European ladder, Zedalot, he has been playing a whole lot of Velen Priest lately.
Interesting.
And he does put Mind Blast in there.
You know, the reason why I think it's so interesting is because, like, Mind Blast is such a single-purpose type of thing, and a lot of times it's just like a dud draw that you get.
Yeah.
And I feel like Priest does take a little bit to actually start getting their draw mechanics going, right? Like, it's such a, it's always like a it's a one-turn explosive draw, or it's 2 turns where you have to get, you know, your Northshire Cleric out,
yeah.
or rather, you get your minions out, and then you get your Northshire, then you find a heal mechanic, and you're able to go. But normally, it's a lot of setup. They can deny that. They know what type of game you're playing, et cetera, et cetera. So I do feel like, you know, going for... I'm sorry, I'm also looking at the game. But going for something like this Velen against a Hunter is a little bit slow to the draw, but he really hasn't drawn into this Mind Blast, thankfully.
Yeah, Velen is also just a strong card in general. BGH isn't... Well, no, I don't know. A couple weeks ago, I would have said, okay, well, or like a week ago, I would have said, okay, BGH isn't as popular, so you're not as punished. But now BGH is even more popular because of handlock.
Yeah.
A lot of decks that would normally run BGH are even taking in 2. Like, handlocks, in order to counter the mirror, are putting in 2 BGHs. A lot of control warriors are putting in 2 BGHs. But Velen is a card where you also get the double effect of your healing power, so it can make you able to stabilize.
That's true.
So, I mean, we can probably get back to the choices here. Vol'jin seems pretty good. He could Vol'jin the Lothep here and be able to trade into it. But
would he actually trade into the Leper Gnome?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Although there still is, as we can see, a way to deal with that. And he has 2 ways, but I'm sure there's one more efficient way, which is the Eagle Horn Bow. He actually takes his Eagle Horn, trades in, and then goes for face here? I mean, you have to go for face. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the Arcane Golem. Probably not.
This is a super aggressive Hunter deck. This is a... Chakki is one of the players who innovates with the Hunter decks the most. He was the first player to, at least publicly, in a competitive environment, put Worgen Infiltrators in a face Hunter deck, and that was actually at the Legendary Series Season 1 LAN Finals, where he took 2nd place. And he's just sort of been on the forefront of the evolution of aggro. But right now, he's kind of screwed.
Yeah, not looking too good. Oh, he has another 2 damage right there. He won't be able to spend his curve exactly unless he wants to drop the Mad Scientist.
Well, actually, no.
What?
This isn't too bad. Just because he might be in a situation where he can race, because Gcttirth doesn't have a... Well, he might have burst, but he doesn't have... he can't heal anymore.
Yeah.
Because Organized Soul Priest. So he can just start piling on the damage, try and draw into lethal the following turn. Actually, no, he is almost guaranteed lethal. He has the Light Bomb here.
Yeah, he has to. He has no choice.
Because Worgen Infiltrator, Arcane Golem, and Hero Power
now
lethal. I didn't realize how low Gcttirth was getting. It felt like he had a lot of control. If he uses Cabal Shadow Priest here, he's dead.
So we know the correct play is Light Bomb, but it's so hard to actually say, like, that is the correct play. A lot of times you're actually thinking you're alive here.
Yeah. Wow!
And there it is. I was actually considering, does he actually go for the trade Light Bombs, but it doesn't really matter.
That's crazy!
And it looks like that's going to be it.
Even though the Organized Soul Priest was a great way to trade with the Lothep, it sort of doomed him. There just wasn't much that he could do. It was such a weird situation where I felt like Gcttirth had such a great hold on the early game. He had the Northshire Cleric for turn 1. He was able to stabilize pretty well. Had that Vol'jin to be able to trade effectively into the Lothep. But he just took so much damage in the process.
Do you think the big thing was, you know, we went back to, well, I was saying before that, you know, the Ascension Shieldmaster traded into the Leper Gnome. Should it actually have just traded into, you know, the 5 attack damage Lothep? Because a lot of times you could count on Hunters being able to break that taunt and just going directly for face for 5 damage. A lot of times it might be more effective just to do that.
I think the Vol'jin play was pretty obvious, but I think that's why he took so long to figure out that turn, was because he was thinking. Killing off the Leopardon there is a huge value play.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to, especially with a 2-damage weapon equipped, it's kind of hard to put a Hunter on having Eaglehorn Bow or Quick Shot, which would be the only 2 ways that he wouldn't be able to trade in that situation. You sort of have to go for those greedier, more value plays if you're going to want to come out at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I don't really blame him for trading into the Leper Gnome. The trading into Lotheb would just have been a really, really like super safe play, which it might have been the play to prevent him from losing as fast. But it wouldn't have been the play that would have allowed him to win the game, because he would have wanted to preserve the damage that he had on the board. So,
because I was also thinking, like, based on the hand, your win condition will just be to outlast and play that attrition game. You know, you have your 7-drop 7/7 Velen, and as soon as you drop that on, you know, not a clear board, but a board that's kind of maintainable, you know, turn 8. You heal for 4, at least, given what your cards are. You know, turn 9, you heal for 4 again. Like, you're able to heal up pretty fast there. And let's say, you know, Hunters are on average dealing anywhere from, let's say, 4 damage to 10 damage, I would say, at that stage. I mean, you're reducing the percentage that they're actually dealing. I mean, I'm just going into theoretics at this point and finding out situations. But, again, I know there are those statistic miners out there that actually can figure out the answer.
Not statistic majors.
Well, when I say miners, I mean like data mining.
Oh, okay.
Not like...
I thought you meant like...
No.
I was like, that's a really weird... Like, you said...
Yeah.
It's obvious that statistics majors can figure it out.
I actually meant 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's actually what I meant.
Well, you don't have to be 10 to be a miner. Okay, we are jumping into game, and it's one thing that we didn't point out is for Gcttirth, he's in India. It's actually almost 5 a.m. in India right now. It's 4:50 a.m. in India right now.
So it's prime time for a nerd.
Yeah.
So he's as awake as he possibly could be.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's like 4 o'clock over here in California. This is actually when Chakki's usually waking up. So he's actually in a worse off position than Gcttirth.
He's like, man, I haven't even had breakfast yet.
No, I think Chakki's actually on the East Coast. He might be in Ohio or one of the north Midwestern states. So probably a little bit later in the day for him. But just thought I'd point that out. Gcttirth is a tournament veteran, and a lot of the tournaments are like NA based, a lot of the qualifiers, so he's probably experienced weird sleep schedules before, but it's also good to point out that it is 5 a.m. where he is almost. So it's Control Warrior.
Very interesting. Obviously, Gcttirth is kind of mixing it up. We were talking about how just the popularity of other warriors having that Grim Patron just gives the capabilities of being able to deal with that very effectively. On the other side, we have pretty standard Zoo.
Seems like it.
Old school Zoo, almost.
Well, you'd think it'd be pretty standard Zoo by the cards, but this deck was played earlier by Chakki, and it's actually a very fast Zoo. He runs Arcane Golems as well.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't top out very high. He runs Soulfires and Dark Bomb.
Wow.
So it's basically just a face Zoo, is what it comes down to be. All his decks, all of Chakki's decks are basically just face decks.
Okay.
It's like, oh, okay, go face with this, go face with that.
Skill decks.
It just so happens that Gcttirth has the
right responses.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't that hard for Warriors. Fireworks, Cool Taskmaster are not rare, and Gcttirth, the rest of his hand is actually quite weak.
But even look at his turn 4. It's not the absolute worst for a lot of the things. Wow, how brutal. But it's not really the worst. I mean, look, he has Armor Smith and Fire War Axe for a lot of the different things that could have popped up here. I think that still is probably the play. The other option is very clearly to Big Game Hunter. You could Armor Smith, Armor Up, but I think just loading your Fire War Axe is probably a lot more important.
Chakki Chakki is unfazed.
Wow, he actually armors up. So why armor up here when you could load your Fiery War Axe?
Well, Fiery War Axe, you don't want to make him... Fireworks can sometimes make the Warlock play inefficiently.
That's true.
They can play around it. They can change their play based on the fact that there's a Fireworks on the board. By keeping it concealed, he puts himself in a position where Chakki might play right into Fiery War Axe.
So my thought process is, you know, when you know you're up against an aggressive deck, development is the most important thing to have.
It is if you have other plays to develop next turn as well.
That's true.
Life gain is also important if you're playing against aggro decks.
Yep. That's
and
true.
in which point, weaving in an armor up every turn is also important, especially since he didn't have a play next turn. Holding onto the Fire War Axe, I definitely agree with. Oh, there's going to be imps galore.
That's right, man.
Double armor smith.
Double armor smith. Boom. Just 2x. Wow. Very surprising that he goes to the imp.
Well, I mean, either way, he's like putting in.
Yeah.
Like he's
right.
If he attacks both of these into the imp gang boss to kill it, he's pretty much putting the same amount of power on board.
That's true.
As he just took off. So this way he removes power from the board. It also decreases the effectiveness of Defender of Argus, which, lo and behold, Chakki just happens to have.
Very fortuitous situation for Chakki, obviously. But I don't think Gcttirth is in, you know, that bad of a situation, to be honest. Do we go for a brawl here, bud? I think we do. Wow. Because that's a considerable amount of clear up. Like, you're getting so much value. I love that he pinged that just to add an extra token there. Make it more likely for a 1-1 to live. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the most likely outcome.
Okay. Simple tap and throws out a Loatheb. You can see, like, as you were talking about, it's not yet capped out by any means because there's a lot in the hand so far.
Tirth is in a great spot. I mean, he's got Dr.
Just
Boom.
boomed, yeah.
He's got Shield Block for health gain. He's got Big Game Hunter in case, like, some crazy boom or Mal'Ganis comes out. Baron Geddon to clean up the little stuff. And he's effectively only taking 2 damage against an aggressive Zoo the whole game.
You're right. And there's 2 Arcane Golems out at this point.
Yeah. I mean, this deck from Chakki is just super duper aggressive.
Yeah.
A lot of face. And in reality, I mean, if a creature survives, let's count up this damage here next turn.
Okay.
So, doesn't even need a creature to survive. So from hand, next turn, Chakki has 6 damage, or 8 damage for 6 mana from Arcane Columns. For 7 mana, it would be 12 with Power Overwhelming. And then with Dark Bomb,
another
15 damage.
That's crazy.
A double brawl. All right.
That is an interesting addition there. Nevertheless, I mean, this looks really, really strong. Oh. And he can't play his Big Game Hunter.
Yep,
that stinks. Well, he could. He just gets rid of his boom.
That's awkward.
Awkward.
Tirth is like, but I really wanted to play that Big Game Hunter.
It's like, 4-2 better than 7-5. No. Let's pass. All right, so he's counting it up. He's like, no, not content.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw down more stuff. So wait, it's for sure 15? 4, 4, 4,
well, 12,
the
maximum
15,
amount of damage he could have
19.
done.
It's 19 damage.
Well, he wouldn't have had mana for all that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's 19 damage total.
Yeah.
That's if he doesn't discard something
mana.
important with his Soulfire.
No, you can save the Soulfire for last.
Well, not anymore. If he had 10 mana and didn't draw a card this turn.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's still potential for him to come out on top of this matchup.
Yep. It's not terribly likely. Dark Bomb to the face.
Yeah. All right. So, next damage. 16.
Oh, man.
16 from hand. So he needs to draw into another power overwhelming, which would be 20, and then have two damage survive on the board.
Wow.
If he goes face here, is he dead? Okay.
Okay, wow.
That was scary. Power overwhelming wins the game. Does that do it?
Wait. 16,
17, 18, 19, 20. He's one damage off.
God.
No way.
I think he still has to go for it, though.
No, he can't.
Why?
Well, he's got to put 1 damage into this Dr. Boom and then put him at 2.
Oh, yeah.
Holy God. Can't tap because wouldn't have enough mana.
Wait, why does he have to put 1 damage in Dr. Boom? Because it's like...
Why not? It's got 1 health.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
Because Grom anything wins him the game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. He's going for it.
Well, he's not going to do that. He's going to save the Hellfire in his hand. So.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
Alrighty.
So he's going to be a little sneaky sneakster. Save all of it, make it look like, oh, I'm really struggling, and then, of course, he doesn't want to be susceptible to a second brawl, which would be crazy. Who runs second brawl, right? Nobody. Wow.
Oh, no, the sludge. Oh, no, he's ow.
Okay, oh, yeah, you're right. He still gains 7 health, though. He's up to 21. But is that going to be enough now?
I don't think so. All right, so he's got 6.
6 on the field.
12 from hand.
12 from hand. Oh, okay.
18 total.
Yeah. I just don't think so.
If he taps into a power overwhelming, he wins. Because he'll still have enough mana for everything.
Yeah.
Wait, if he taps into power overwhelming, he'll have 6 on the board.
Is that the only
12
card?
from hand. So it'd be 22.
Does he put Doomguard in?
Second Soulfire.
It doesn't matter.
But he'd be a 50-50. That's not it.
Okay. So he knew Ruby eggs. He still has to owl. He has to push for damage for sure.
Yeah.
And he needs to get cards out there so, you know, he doesn't get hit face with Rag.
Yep.
And I guess he just keeps... Man, 7 damage is so much. He's right now calculating because he has to realize, like, okay, if I don't place my other Arcane Golem, does it... will I still have enough damage out on the field? Given the Belcher will probably get rid of something. Interesting spot.
Oh my goodness. This is so much damage, man. This is ridiculous. And to think that he's been on like a draw for lethal both these games despite such a fantastic start. Whoa, that's risky.
Yeah.
Cool Taskmaster? Well, it's not lethal.
No.
I mean, it's potential lethal if Rag hits, but I don't... All right, so...
So do you go for your Acolyte of Pain, Cruel Task, Brawl? No, you can't do that. Well, oh, yeah. You do that, and then your Belcher goes into the 0-2. Because you need to clear this board, right? Like, you are scared of the board incredibly. There's no better way to clear it, and then you have to calculate. It's basically like a 50-50. Well, it's a little bit worse than that. It's 44% that one of your cards are going to stick.
Baron Geddon is also a 50-50 to win the game. Straight up.
Oh.
So
wait. No, it's 33%.
Well, you'd kill the defender of Argus.
Oh, you're right.
And then
you're right.
The damage from Baron Geddon would trigger, so he'd be at 7, and there would only be 2 targets left on the board. To be honest, Baron Geddon seemed... Oh, the Rag
Oh my God! No way!
Oh my goodness! 17 damage.
Oh my God! No way!
17 damage is impossible for Chakki to do.
Oh my God!
Oh no! That would have been.
It would have been it.
If any of his creatures had survived.
Oh my God! No freaking way!
This is 15 damage.
12, 15, and then, yeah.
He needed a 2-health creature to survive.
The owl could have lived.
That is it.
The defender could have lived. Oh, my goodness.
And
well, then...
Now,
yeah.
And also, since the Rag lived, That is ridiculous. Since the Rag lived, it also put him at 1, so he can't even tap into another answer.
That was like a 29%er.
This position right here, he could, if he wasn't at 1 health, he could tap into second power overwhelming, and that would still win in the game. But now he can't even tap. I mean, he can. Okay, so yeah, he's dead.
He's dead.
I mean, he's dead.
Yeah,
but
nothing.
He's thinking, is there a position where I cannot lose?
I can deny the board or something. And yes, he can deny the board with like Arcane Golem, Power Overwhelming, Dark Bomb. But you're saying, can you do 1 damage?
Yeah.
And he's just gonna play out his hand, hope for the best, and then hopefully with 2 cards next turn, he could be able to deal. Oh no, don't care none. That is GG, my friend. Baron later, bro. Have a good day.
That's heartbreaking for Chakki.
It is. It is.
That brawl.
Sometimes you just got to gamble, though, man. And who actually expects a second brawl? This is a spot where second brawl comes and wins the game.
Yeah. There have been a lot of Control Warrior players that have been saying double brawl is probably most effective right now with the popularity of Grim Patron Warrior and Zoo Warlocks, but I mean, that was literally the only outcome that lost Chakki the game.
Yeah.
But Gcttirth is going to tie it up. 1 apiece.
Now, I do want to put it out there that some people are like, oh, wow, RNG. That's how this guy wins. But, I mean, 30% happens a lot of the times, you know? People got to realize. 30%, it's a better odds of, you know, flipping coin twice and it coming up tails twice. So,
well, there was that 30%.
Yeah.
What are you getting 30%?
2 out of 5.
Well, if Sludge Belcher had lived, he would
2 to 5.
He would have been able to tap into potential lethal.
Wait, if Sludge Belcher lived.
Like the brawl outcome.
Yeah.
If
he had 2 minions out in the field, right?
He had 5.
His opponent had 5.
Yeah. He had 2.
He had 2, so it's 2 7s. Or 2 to 5.
Well, Sludge Belcher would have let him tap.
Oh, I see.
So he could have tapped into another lethal. So that was the one that secured the game. Like
yeah.
He had enough mana to tap into Power Overwhelming and still win. So it was super bad.
Man.
But, I mean, Gcttirth played it well. I mean, he put himself in the best position to win the game.
That's right.
That's the most important part, and he's got to move on. Now, Chakki still has to win with the Warlock deck that we just saw, still has to win with that aggressive Rogue deck, and he's going to throw out the Warlock deck. And he hasn't given up all of his stuff yet. I mean, Gcttirth can kind of guess based off of what he's seen that it is super aggro.
Yep. But
Chakki didn't give up the Soulfire.
Speaking of that, though, Gcttirth, none of his decks have been shown, whereas Chakki, he had another series that he had to play.
Yep.
So if Tirth is like really checking out the stream and making sure he was on top of everything, he has a good idea what's inside of Chakki's deck. So I would actually say that there is no element of surprise.
Yeah. Oh, it's Handlock.
Oh, baby, baby.
All right.
Hellfire.
So, this, I don't even know if Hellfire would be that good because Chakki has a lot of damage from hand. He's got double Soulfire and Dark Bombs in his deck. All right. This is a pretty decent start for Gcttirth. He's got Dark Bomb to deal with like pesky Knife Jugglers.
But not only that, I mean, we're going to go into the God Mode cam where we can see both. And seeing that there's an Nerubian Egg and then 2 Imp Gang bosses, you're feeling so good. A lot of times, the way you deal with Handlock in the early stages, you just put so much pressure on by like turn 4. If I don't clear the board, I'm basically dead.
Yeah. Or if I don't have like Molten Giants and walls.
Even with Molten Giants and walls, you just don't have enough to put it up. Yeah, like if you don't have your Molten Giants, but Mountain Giants, like they become useless because you need a turn to get them out, and then you need a turn to actually taunt them up. But because there hasn't been enough damage to be pressed, you can actually throw out your Azure Drake, or I'm sorry, your Twilight Drake, and you're looking in not a bad situation, although that's a great taunt up right there.
Yeah.
What to do from here?
Oh, Anti-Qbot. Sludge Belcher and Anti-Qbot are both fantastic cards for this matchup. He also has Jiraxis. So I think Gcttirth is in a fantastic position right now. Chakki, I don't think, has enough spell burn to get through how much effective life gain Tirth is going to have this game. So, Gcttirth, I told the story before, but there might be some people who haven't seen him play, because he played in the Legendary Series in Week 1, which was a long time ago. But Gcttirth sounds like a weird name. People wonder, where does GCT come from? Tirth is his first name. GCT stands for Giga Champion Tirth. When Tirth was younger, he had a group of friends that liked to play video games together, and they called their clan or the group Giga. And it was a unanimous opinion that everybody thought Tirth was the best player. So that's why they called him the champion. So Giga Champion Tirth is what his name means. There's a little bit of redundant with the Tirth, but...
By the way, this is the Dream Hellfire. There's so many things that will not proc here.
Yeah,
all the imps.
For Chakki, you mean.
Yeah.
Like the Dream defensive board against Hellfire.
No, this Tirth is the Warlock.
Tirth is the handlock.
Oh, I'm sorry, the handlock. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
So in order for him to
both of them are Warlock.
I mean, he can Dark Bomb and Hellfire and only be left with a 4/4, which is like best case scenario.
Yeah.
But is he dead? 12 health. He's dead.
Oh man.
Well, hello there.
Well, never mind. Maybe not the Dream.
Yeah. He doesn't even need the Dark Bomb.
No, yeah.
Got 12 damage just with the Soul Fire. And that game went a lot quicker than the last one. A little bit more smooth for Chakki.
Man, kind of crazy. That was the Dream scenario for handlock.
Well, I mean, maybe not necessarily the Dream, but he had
a lot of the components to be able to, you know, in general, like we've always talked about this, the handlock has trouble with the really, really early fast pushing. Against Hunter, it's just like a nightmare situation because they always start to get rolling at turn 4, turn 5. But I felt like, you know, that was the best possible situation, and it still comes up pretty close. Comes up pretty close.
So Chakki has to find a win with Rogue. Now, this was the deck that was sort of a liability for Chakki in the first matchup that he played of the day. It took him 3 tries. He lost 2 matches and only won 1 with this Rogue deck. He seemed to have inconsistent starts. Even the last one that he had, it was tough for him to piece it together. But he's got 2 opportunities to do so. He has to either beat the Priest or the Warlock. And I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Handlock traditionally has a pretty good matchup against Rogue. The fast Rogue, though, might be a little bit too fast for Handlocks to handle.
It's true.
Priest might be in the same boat. This deck might be a little too fast for Priest to handle. So,
although there are 2 Senjins in here.
That's true.
He is missing, like, what is he missing? I guess that would be annoying. The 2/8/3 drop.
Oh, the perfect start. Holy Smite into double Mind Blast. You can put your opponent at 18 health on turn 3.
I love it.
How? Oh, man.
And he only kept a Smite?
Yeah.
Why are we casting this guy?
I mean, Priest could technically... Priests have so much direct damage. You could, like, double Mind Blast, double Holy Smite into double Holy Fire. That's still only 24 damage. Okay, never mind. I take it back. I regret nothing. Okay. Well, this start for Chakki, not the greatest. He's not on the coin, so it's going to be tough for him to activate these SI agents. He's actually got both Shadow Steps in his hand, which will be good as long as he can get to the point where he can actually utilize the Shadow Steps, have cards that are good. But
gosh, yeah, it does stink, man.
Sap.
What do you do here? Do you just sap this back? It sounds so wrong.
To be honest, I think you just hit the dagger to face and re-dagger.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so.
Many options.
You throw out the SI agent here, he just heals up his Injured Blade Master.
Yeah.
And
kills it for free.
And yeah, well, maybe not for free, but
for two
for very low cost. So, I mean, the Rogue aggro deck is one that can afford to not have a board as much, just for the sole fact that a lot of their burst damage is combos. But this is looking kind of grim. Whoa. This is a huge bait from Gcttirth. It's a big tell.
Yep. So he's basically saying like, hey, I have another power word shield.
Yeah,
Now,
or in light of the Naru.
That's true. And he's saying to himself like, oh, do I want to use this now or do I want to use it later and just heal up?
Yeah, that is. You sneaky guy.
Wow.
Tirth.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Really clever.
Yeah.
He's just going to go for face and heal up. Go back to 30. Everything's good to go. It's like nothing ever happened. All wounds are mended. Still not anything that we can see that that Chakki can really play here.
Okay, so this mind games here might force a sap out of Chakki. He might be thinking, well, if he hovered over...
Yep.
Yeah, if he hovered over Light of the Naru, I can't let this injured Blade Master get out of control. I need to sap it now.
Well,
and this sets him up later for opportunities where he can play cards like Ascension Shield Master to block damage. That's really smart by Tirth.
Are you going to steal that now? Would you consider stealing it?
And now he's going to do it again. He's going to hover over it and be like, should I do this or should I not? Wow. He's
That's
all in on
so clever,
all
man.
in on the mind games.
I love that. I love that.
The only other player that I've seen do that in the Legendary Series so far has been Too Wet, who is also of the mind games. Thank you.
Finally has something to actually start activating his SI.
Yeah.
But okay.
Tirth is like a cold-blooded killer. Oh, he's milling him.
Oh man. 2 cards are going to go away. That was
well, Chakki's also going to mill himself.
Yeah. Unless. No.
Nope, no unless.
No.
Oh, wait, no. He's at 9 cards. No, he's good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Unless there's one hiding behind our overlay, which I don't think there is. Okay, he's at 9.
He's at 9.
All right, we're good.
I should be used to this. I always have 9 cards in my hand.
All right, he's debating whether or not he wants to Shadow Step his Cold Light Oracle, and he does.
Keep it?
Yeah. The reach is probably what you need against Freeze. The combos are great. Comboing. Ooh, Cabal Shadow Freeze. I don't even know if that's even useful, but that very well could have been something that was quite useful.
Yep. He hovers over the same card, man.
What?
Well, he has the Cold Light, so he has to respect that and be like, okay,
yeah.
let's play against that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because
it's not very often that I see a Holy Smite base on turn 5.
But he might just go Circle of Healing and then Mind Blast.
Mind Blast. Aggro
Oh,
freeze.
no. Probably not Mind Blast. Wild Pyromancer, now that I see it. Okay. Alright. So that's fine. I like that play. Gets rid of 3 cards really quickly. And now, if he goes and plays the Cold Light Oracle, won't take any damage from that. Both Shadow Steps have been used. Unless he doesn't run gang ups, does he?
No. I highly doubt it. So got double Cold Blood, double Eviscerate, double Arcane Golem. Does run Wolf Riders as well in this deck. Oh, Deadly Poison. Oh yeah, double Loot Hoarder as well. With a little bit of extra reach. This play gets punished heavily by Holy Nova if this is all he's going to do.
This guy's toast.
And, well, Gcttirth just happens to have one of those fancy cards called Holy Nova.
It's nice when you have 10 cards. Or
yeah.
Not 10, but how many does he have?
10.
Oh, you just have to. Oh, yeah, because the Cold Light. Wow. Well, unfortunate.
Now, also, he may feel like he is safe enough and healthy enough to use Emperor Thor's hand here because with 9 cards in your hand, that's 4.5 innervates that you're basically getting. It's like 6 mana 5/5. Give yourself 4 innervates and a coin. I'd play that card.
I would play.
I'd play that card in a heartbeat. Holy Nova's still going to be there next turn, and it's also going to be cheaper.
It's going to be 4. Yep. And he just goes to her face. Of course, he's sitting on 30 health too. And how likely is your opponent to deal? Let's see. It's right now on the board. It's 8, 10.
All right, so 6, 7, 8.
There's 10
9,
damage.
10.
So, okay, 2 Arcane Gold?
14.
No, there's not enough. He needs some preps
15, 16.
to actually make this work, because he needs the Eviscerates, he needs the Deadly Poison.
He's got 20 damage total, I believe. With the way his mana is gated, I believe he has 20 total damage. Now, he can deal with what's on the board here. And he can actually put quite a bit of pressure on Gcttirth. But the question is, will he be able to close out the game with the amount of damage that he does have? He has double Blade Flurry. He's got an Oil sit somewhere in his deck, so he can combo South Sea Deckhand with Oil and Blade Flurry. I mean, this is so much damage in his hand. He has enough damage in his hand to kill Gcttirth over a couple turns. That's given Gcttirth doesn't do anything.
Yeah. And it's a lot of burst stuff, too, that's like self-sufficient on 1 turn, right? Like, he doesn't need to prep for anything. Not actually, like, preparation, but, like, he doesn't need to, like, have some cards stick, and then he's able to actually activate them. They're instantly activated, which is really nice, just with some combos. Down to 20 health. And it's looking kind of grim. Light Bomb will be coming out, though, it looks like, followed by a...
Injured Blade Master.
Injured Blade Master, that's right.
All right, so is this enough?
Let's see now. So he's sitting at 8. I don't think it's enough. Don't think so just yet.
No, I can only do like 12 damage.
Yeah.
He's getting there, though.
Just 12 with Arcane Golems and the Eviscerate. Of course, he does have the South Sea Deckhands.
He could also double South Sea Deckhand.
So he could do 13 damage.
Yeah.
With the hero power.
Whoa!
What? No. No.
Either way, he later on in the game, since he has more mana now, he's going to be able to...
So he has to Agent here then. Right? He has to. How does he not?
I think the question is whether or not he trades or puts his damage to face. He's trying to piece together his damage. He wants to make sure he has as much burst as possible. So he has 12 damage from hand for 8 mana with just double Arcane Golem. I like this.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Very cool.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, he can do 12 damage next turn just from hand alone. Azure Drake Holy Nova.
Oh, my gosh.
A brutal.
That's a great turn.
Job's done.
That is a great turn.
Job's done.
And he's sitting at 17 health. Pretty comfortably away from that. Has to Azure Drake here. Needs to start piecing together more components. That is going to help a lot. So that right there is 16 damage. I think he just powers up. Oh, does he go? No. I'm sorry. He goes to the Eviscerate right now. And it takes advantage of that spell power.
So
puts him down to 12.
Okay, so if he eviscerates face and attacks face with dagger, puts him at 11.
Yep.
And he has 12 damage next turn, 13 with the dagger hit. So he actually, if all Gcttirth does is heal, Chakki has lethal next turn. Oh, never mind.
Oh my god, he killed himself. Oh my god. No! Oh, yes! Oh
no.
my god! No!
How can you expect that? And Gcttirth, that's the biggest smile I've ever seen Gcttirth give, and it's not even a smile.
That's so juicy, man. That's what you live for, though.
Yeah.
When you're up against an aggro deck and you're like, oh, let me just do 10 points of damage
with
my Mind Blast.
He was dead no matter what.
Yeah.
He had to eviscerate or clear off the Azure Drake. Yeah, he had to eviscerate the Azure Drake.
Yeah.
But you can't throw that much damage in. All right, well, Gcttirth ties it up, so we're going to game 5.
That's right, man. Very exciting. I like this. I can clearly see who I'm rooting for in this series. I don't know if you would know, but, you know.
I honestly can't.
I'm not a big fan of the aggro decks.
Oh, okay.
I'm just, they feel very, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of skill that goes into...
Chakki makes them an art form.
But I think the skill ceiling is lower for aggro decks than for, you know, the more controlled decks.
Arguable.
It is arguable.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is.
All right. Well, this deck is going to be really tough for Chakki to get through. He's got his Rogue left, and he's got to get through Handlock. Now, of course, Rogue versus Handlock has traditionally been a rough matchup for Rogue. But, like I said, the fast deck might be a little bit too much for Handlock to handle. This deck is fast, but it's also not that fast. The first creature that it usually plays is like SI Agent, which the really fast rogue decks, like the Backspace Rogue that we saw a few months ago, ran like Argent Squire to be able to get big turns with Coldblood out early on in the game to put on pressure. But it doesn't look like Chakki does that with this rogue deck. Looks like it's just like very like maximum damage potential tuned.
What I like too is that he's able to control the amount of damage that he puts out. Like a lot of these aggro decks aren't capable of doing that, and against something like Handlock, very important. But you know, already we see a problem. Mountain Giant is very, very big, I think, in this early game stage for Handlock. Just because we saw from last game, you talked about it, the SI Agent. It's generally the first card that pops out, although not always, but
I think Mountain Giant's way too slow.
You think so?
Yeah, you got rid of it.
Wow, yeah, you're right.
It's way too slow.
I mean, it's
super
nice to pick
vulnerable
up
to sap.
2 Azure Drakes. That's right, it is vulnerable to sap.
Nice to pick up 2 Azure Drakes, but it's even nicer to pick up an Ooze. Ooze can stop a lot of momentum from weapon classes, especially Rogue.
Okay, just taps in. He has to coin Azure Drake next turn.
Tippity tap, tip tap. Tap.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep. Read your mind.
He took the words out of my mouth. Twilight Drake. Makes sense, and this is nice. He can actually go for Twilight Drake next turn, clear up the board a little bit, and then directly after that he can go for his Mountain Giant.
Or Sludge Belcher.
Or Sludge Belcher, either way. I like the Mountain Giant a little bit better because, you know, realistically, you want to be sitting at that like 16 health, and then you start taunting up. 16 to 20, I would say, overall. And by the time you have your 2 Twilights out, your 2 Twilight Drakes, you have your Mountain Giant out, you're going to be approximately around that phase, depending on how aggressive they are. And it looks like he's actually ramping up the aggression here very quickly.
You have to sort of go all in with this matchup.
It makes sense.
You can't afford to play around cards like Hellfire. You can't afford to play around AoEs because you don't... Gcttirth's like, well,
I know.
I'm going to play this card.
He's ready. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the silence, too. Just a little bit more denial.
Yeah.
Gets rid of the South Sea deckhand. I love that. Love that. People might consider getting rid of that Loot Hoarder. Of course, you don't want to get rid of that because it gives your opponent another card, gives them more options to actually do stuff. You don't want your opponent doing stuff.
Mm-mm.
All right. Kind of an interesting spot here. What I do like, by the way, is the fact that there are multiple minions out for this Handlock. So the double Defender of Argus enables you to very clearly play around sap.
Yeah.
But what do we do here if we are Chakki? I don't know what the clear solution is. I feel like we're behind slightly, but our opponent is down at least 13 if we go full face.
You need the sap to be able to push through with Arcane Golem. Like, that's... I think he just needs to dagger up Goblin Honor Barber here. Maybe trade in 1 Loot Hoarder to check the draw.
Okay. It's not the worst.
Yeah.
Get rid of the Owl.
Also allows him to combo something later on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, he's just going to get rid of the Owl naturally.
Yeah. He doesn't want to open up a giant plus taunt anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like this. I like this a lot.
All right, so Chakki needs to start piecing together large amounts of damage over the next couple turns, because this is where the Handlock is going to start to stabilize here. All right. So in his hand at the moment, he only has 7 damage, like a maximum of 8 damage if he utilizes Blade Flurry. Or, I mean, I guess it could be 9 damage if he keeps a hold of the weapon buff here.
Yeah.
But the 2 damage dagger is not that effective against Handlock in a Blade Flurry, usually.
Definitely not. Yeah, this is not a great spot for Chakki, man. And really the world is up for Tirth, as he's most likely just going to start dropping down some taunts.
Oh, man.
Making sure he's... Oh, no, he's going for the Mountain Giant. Okay. He could also consider Siphon Souling. It's not the worst.
Azure Drake's like the biggest creature he's ever going to see in this deck, which is pretty funny.
Oh, double sap. That's very helpful, actually.
Yep.
Very, very helpful.
Yeah. I think he has to...
he has to sap Wolf Rider.
Sap Wolf Rider,
and
dagger up.
Dagger up.
I don't know. So it seems weird sapping a target that... Sapping the Mountain Giant actually doesn't prevent much except for removing damage off your own board.
That's true.
You want to sap the targets that have taunt because that's going to be the limiting factor. But he realizes that he's sort of on a clock right now.
Yeah, he needs to maintain his minions as best as possible.
Yeah.
He's protecting them. And now, yep, it has
does he have... Oh, he has 5, 6, 10 damage with the Arcane Golem, 11 damage with Blade Flurry. He's actually on a draw to win the game. Is that it? That is it?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
No way.
Wow.
Tirth, he's sad.
Wow.
He's
that
sad.
is brutal. And Chakki.
Look at that. He takes a sip. He's like, no big deal. Easy game, easy day.
He took off the label of his whatever beverage that is, but we all know Chakki. We know exactly what that is. Chakki, first player of the day, moving on to the Group B Finals. Big Sock Chak coming up big.
Yep, very nicely done overall. I mean, you know, I was talking about how, like, I think, so in these situations where it's just full out aggro versus, you know, very, very, very control-y type of deck,
yeah.
I feel like this is where we get to see aggro shine a lot because, again, you have this line in the sand where you're trying to judge what you play around and what you don't. And I feel like being able to be very accurate with that is hard to do. And time and time again, I see these aggro decks. I'm like, oh, you should be losing here.
You punish poor draws.
Yes.
A lot.
So much more. So much more.
There's also a lot more room for error when you're playing slower decks. And Gcttirth, I mean, that's just his style. I mean, both these guys, you can tell how different their styles are. Chakki has always sort of been the king of aggro. And he plays it about as best as you can play. You see, even the games that he lost, he always put himself into position to draw for a win.
Yeah.
Which is something you have to do. And I mean, aggro decks in general, usually what you want to do is kill your opponent like one turn before they kill you. Like that's just how aggro works. And even though the games are close, if you don't win, then the game wasn't really close in general. So, and of course, Gcttirth, since the beginning, since we saw him last season, he's loved to play that control.
Definitely so. Tough loss for him as he was seeded into this tournament, but he's going to have to try again in the open qualifiers if he wants a chance to make it to the finals. Oh, he can't?
No, he's from India.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So that was Gcttirth's last
man.
chance to make it to that finals. $25,000 prize pool. Chakki is going to be up for that. Of course, that $25,000 would not be possible without our wonderful sponsors. Playtronics and Gigabyte have joined us for Season 2 to help us out with all the exciting things that we have planned for the LAN finals. It's a 16-player LAN, and we're going to fly all 16 players out, or drive them out, depending on how close they are, to our studios in Burbank, California. And that wouldn't be possible to get these players here and have a lot of fun without those guys. So support what we do here at the Legendary Series by going to those links you just saw on your screen, heading over to legendaryseries.com, and maybe purchasing some Plantronics headsets, some Gigabyte motherboards, getting yourself some sponsor gear.
And at the very least, just tweet at them, thank them, and also tweet at us. Stay in the conversation at ESL Hearthstone, #HLS.
And of course, as always, we're doing some giveaways today. You can head over to esl.gg/redemption series. We're giving away Plantronics headsets as well as some classic packs. So go to that website, follow the instructions on the screen, and enter in to that raffle. You can also spam !raffle or !packs in channel. Doesn't do anything, but it's definitely amusing. Our next matchup is going to be the semifinal between Lead Paint and Strife Crow. That should be a good one, man.
I think so. I think so. I mean, Strife Crow is always very exciting. Lead Paint has proven himself over the course of a while now.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, we saw yesterday that it was a double invite finals. 4 of the 5 players that have qualified for the LAN have been players that originally started out as invites. And if Strife Crow makes it, that trend is going to continue. But Lead Paint is looking to change that. Lead Paint versus Strife Crow, the second semifinal of Group B, will return right after this.
Put your faith in the light.